out with good grades. And the third one, when you hear, you don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. So, which of them do you think are more likely to excel? Please help me. The first one, I don't have a clue of what they are doing. The first one. Okay, which one is the first one? Okay, the one that is always at different places. So who has something else to say? Who thinks those ones will likely not become successful? Nobody. So we all agree with him that it is not the third set of people that will become more likely to be successful. Okay.
From my own experience, there is what you mean by people that doesn't have a clue of what they are doing is very or is different. You understand?
Yeah.
Like me, let me use myself as a point as a particular practical example. When I'm young, I don't have a clue of what I want to do. I want to become a business person, a news. We are from a medical background.
Okay.
My dad and everybody, my family, they are medical personnel. I don't fancy such profession, but I don't have a clue of what I want to become. So I like do business today, tomorrow, I'm there
Yeah.
tomorrow. But as I'm growing,
You are refining it.
I'm refining it, and today I have a clue of what.
Okay. Let me go and sit down. He has finished the message today. Thank you. God bless you. So, thank you so much, man. So I'll give you. Well, let me answer it this way. So while I was there, I was that type of guy that I didn't actually know what I was going to do, but I was doing everything. I was in fellowship. I was playing football. I was dancing. I would come here anytime they are doing anything. I will dance. I will organize drama. I was doing everything. I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue. And there's a certain group of people, Modupe and Onuga, and when they're more with like March, they faced their book. That was their purpose in life. So seeing what we have grown to become, do you know the funny thing? Modupe that Facebook, she's successful. So first scrap that nonsense that somebody said education is a scam. Because first, schooling might be a scam. And I said might. And schooling is different from education. You can never amount to anything in life without education. Just take it like that. You can never become anything in life without education. You disagree? Go ahead, please. God bless you. Father Pastor Paul is a music person. He's a music minister. He studied medicine. So while he was in school, what do you think he was doing? Schooling. So, okay. Schooling can be coming to school to just, at times your parents send you errands that you just fulfill that. I respect that, I just want to do it. Yeah? That's schooling. People who went to go and learn trade, carpentry, furniture, is education. Is education. Oshe Apprenticeship, Emeka and Sons Limited, is education. The moment someone teaches you how to do something, someone shows you the way, is education. Schooling is just base up, fulfill all the obligation and get out of there. And I said, don't get me wrong, I didn't even say schooling is a scam. That's why I like to pick my words very well. I said even schooling might be a scam, depending on what you want to do in your life. I have a lot of education, proper and improper. Let me give you a few instances. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I did a lot of things. I published a newsletter in school. I learned printing. When I type very fast. Mavis Beacon, I learned typist. Get what I'm saying? I learned photography, from paparazzi, the photographer that was there. He was my first photography editor. I learned video editing. I learned videography. I collected a job in Benin Republic that I didn't know, have no idea about. Can you shoot a wedding? Yes, we can. And we will travel to Benin. We borrowed camera that we had no clue how it works, but we were figuring it out on the road. So, and because those people saw activities as we were climbing car, we were jumping down. They thought we knew what we wanted, what we were doing. So it took me 3 months to deliver the wedding because I was just struggling up and down to edit. But you know the funny thing, along the line, I was still a student. I started cloning in 2010. I will shoot a video. Okay, he knows. I will shoot a video of me slapping myself. Because what? I was just like a couple of things. And I was, mind you, I was, one day JJ referred me, and I got a job in a magazine. So there's one thing, when you have proper education, you become relevant anywhere you go. So if it's an accountant here, I can bet it. If the accountant studies his or accounting in Nigeria, I will lecture the accountant. And I'm not an accountant. When I'm talking about law and all those things, it's because I have what? Education. You can't pour from an empty vessel. It is impossible. Hello? Joe, to about 5 minutes. Let me jump to you now. So education is very key. And all of us, eventually, I transited to give what I do now definition. So if somebody asks me, what do you do? I just say I'm in the food and media sector. Shikena. In the food and media sector. I just say that. So if you now want me to explain, I now tell you, okay, this I have something that does this, I have something that does this. And over the years, what has happened is that the education, the experiences has helped us build character and knowledge. So why industries, let me tell you this, why industries want 5 years experience or 4 years experience is because they want you to come with something other than your certificate. And all of you have had one shade of experience. If your mother sells and you go to the shop, if what you do is to help her call customer, you can fancy that, you can put that in a very fancy word and call it, yes, and call it customer acquisition officer. Customer acquisition officer. You can custom a fancy word. So there was another thing that me and my friend Adele Samuel did when we were here. Whenever he went to somebody to look for work, he would carry me along as his PA. We were both homeless, NIJ bedroom. So no, why am I saying all these things? So you know, there's a lot of stupid thing about this generation, and my own generation too, that says, do you know my story? I'm poor now. My parents don't have money. My dear, for 2 years of my life, I was battling in this school. So I'll come to school very early. People you think I like education. No, I don't like it. Sorry, I'm not being. Not that I wanted to come very early, but I had to come before every other student arrives so that I can use their bedroom. We, both of us, God catch us. We feel like going to toilet in the evening because we have to go and come to Tasty Fried Chicken and pretend as if we want to buy something. So it was that like that. We would miss classes because we needed to go and hustle for 30 naira or 50 naira. And I can remember there was one day I shared 5,000 handbills for cars because I was going to be paid 500 naira. We didn't have a choice. It's either you do it or you die. So it's like your back is against the wall. You stay there or you push yourself out. Hello? Me mom ever manage 15 minutes, you. Check into bossing me, I begin hand up. 5 more minutes. So let me just go to this last point and get out of your sight. I don't want to bore you. Relationships. Say relationships. The best thing you can do for yourself is to get the best kind of relationship you can get from here. You are a reflection of what your friends do. Or let me put it this way, your future is a prophecy of what your friends do, not even what you do. Let me explain that. If my friends are clubbers, they go to club, and we can predict how their life. No, let me not use go to club. If your friends are doing certain things, and you can predict that this is how their life will be, maybe later in life, that is your future that you have just seen. That's your future. So your future is what your friends do. Because why? You are friends. You are going together. You can't be friends if you don't agree. And in case you notice, think, reflect. In every institution, these are the first two things that happen. Number one, once you enter the class, you look for somebody that looks like what you are coming from, where you are coming from. If you look like a civil servant's boy, are your parents civil servant or pastors? None of the above. But that's what it looks like. You will just go and look for somebody that looks like you. If you are scrap, first, arrangement. If you are high class, you go and meet somebody that high class. Check your class. You see that people just gravitate towards their like. So if that is your friend, that's your future. And secondly, about relationship is you cannot benefit from a relationship you have never invested in. So invest in a relationship before you need it. Whether physically, mentally, or financially, invest in a relationship before you do what? You need it. So that by the time you need it, that person will feel like he or she owes you. Relationship is a mutual, it shouldn't be leechy. It shouldn't leech on individuals. Users are dangerous. So meet somebody can add value to it. This is the value I want to add. Add it. If that person remembers, fine. If the person forgets, fine. But invest in a relationship before you need it. Not that, okay, I will need that person next week and you are nice now. Before you know that you need it, invest in a relationship. So because I don't like wasting too much time, I would like to take 2 or 3 questions and get out of here. Who has any question? Okay, go ahead, please. Okay. Quality what? Qualities of a good leader. Okay. So, stand up. So, I could have picked anybody. No. Okay, no worry. Let me even pick him. Sit down. Come here. Can you lead me? Can you lead me? Okay. There's an organization. You are studying. What level are you? Okay, part-time. What do you do? Video editor. So let's say, for example, now there's an organization, and let's look for a corporation like maybe BBC. They want to employ a producer. Who do you think they will likely employ between me and you?
They will employ you.
Why do you think they will employ me?
Because I think you're more established than I am.
No. It has nothing to do with establishment. And don't use the word established.
BBC is like top, so they will need someone more like
experienced,
and
has more knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why you think you cannot be in that position. So let's say, for example, there is management position and there is sub-management position. Who do you think they put in management position?
You.
Me. Yeah. Why is that? Because 5 cannot lead a 8. 2 cannot lead a 5. You get what I'm saying? So the power of leadership beyond character is first competence. You get what I'm saying? So that is why to lead in any sector, you must have something others don't have. In all these movies that I watch, Hercules, all those movies, people gravitate towards these superheroes because they have what they don't have. You get what I'm saying? So even in my fold, when I have a lot of Gen Zs that I can't do what they do. No man is an island. You must know that you don't know everything.
Yeah, that's why people need you to.
Yes,
That's something
yes,
you can do.
yes. That's why I try to narrow it. You could lead me in 1 million ways. But the funny thing is that, okay, let me give you another example. There's something called the grace of, no, you're tired of me. You can get out, please, thank you. Of experience. There was one guy that I have a film school in Ibadan. The guy came to our film school, became an editor, started working. Then one day I had a problem, and he brought it to me that this picture is not uploading on Premiere Pro. I doesn't know why. I've tried to it and it couldn't upload. So I said, "Why can't figure it out? Go."
I just want to chip this one.
Okay, let me finish that line of thought. So I just told him that just go. I can't figure it out. Then and I asked myself, in my journey, have I ever encountered something like this before? And I remembered just there that I've encountered it before. And how did I solve it? I used CorelDRAW. So check the relationship of Premiere Pro to CorelDRAW. I just said, come back here. I used Windows Photo Editor. Sorry. I used Windows Photo Editor. So I just went to Windows Photo Editor, Control Shift S, save it again as JPEG. So what happened? Experience. So leadership, two most important traits of leadership is education and experience. Then other character, blah blah blah.
When we talk about leadership, leadership doesn't depend on your age or your status or it depends on experience, resilience, capacity, capability, tolerance.
Let me sit down. Thank you. Mr. T. By the way.
All right, that was a beautiful session, insightful one. Please put your hands together for him. Put your hands together for the CEO of Owambe Groups, right, Mr. Ola Abraham. Oh wow, I think the mic is back. Is it back? All right, so we are. Can we all hear me? Can we all hear me? So we are moving on to the last session for the career day, right? And what they always say about the last week is medicine. They always consider the last prepare for what? The last session. And I want to congratulate you, thank you, for holding on to this time. The next speaker that will be taking us today, right? Is a seasoned crime and investigative reporter with over 10 years in journalism. Right? He has several degrees in mass communication from prestigious universities across Africa, including the American University in Cairo, right, Egypt, right? And trust me, I was once in one of the sessions we had here in Nigeria some months, I think some weeks back, right? And it's really going to be talking again the investigative journalism aspect. We're talking about how to discover purpose and leadership, right? From the journalism perspective, which is a few minutes for a session, and I'm telling you that to be one of the best sessions you enjoy in the career day for today. So please don't get tired. I am just the last speaker of the day. Thank you. Please make welcome to our
Thank you so much. Even though I think if I were given free tickets like the first speaker did, the clap might have been higher. Anyway, listening to the earlier speakers, it's clear that you have learned a lot today as regard the topic. I'm just here to just touch some little surface that probably were omitted. I'm talking about how you can discover purpose in leadership. However, because I'm talking to future journalists, as we used to call it in those days, journalists in embryo, I'll be focusing or streamlining it to journalism perspective, so you can relate it better, or it may relate better to you, however you want it. A lot has been said about leadership and discovering purpose, but I think for me, purpose is so key when we talk about leadership that you can't do without purpose. Leadership is very, very important, especially as photojournalists. You are not only tasked with reporting news, when that time comes, but also with sharing and shaping the narrative as much as you want the public to know. You have a very critical power being a journalist to inspire, to educate, and to influence opinions of people. Now, I ask again, who is a leader? What is leadership? With this little talk, I think you should be able to get the drift that a leader is one who inspires and influences. And that is one ability you have as a journalist. You can inspire people and you can influence people to act in a way you want them to act. That tells you that you are a leader in your own right. But to wield this power effectively, it's important that you first discover your purpose. Journalism plays a very critical role in society. It is the watchdog over those in power as it seeks to hold them to accountability. And by doing so, it tells you if you can hold someone to account for their actions, it tells you are a leader, right? We play that crucial role in society. That is why we are referred to as the fourth estate of the realm. Hope you have heard that term before. The fourth estate of the realm. It means after the first three tiers of government, the next tier of government is the journalist. After the legislative, the judiciary, and executive, then comes the journalist. And when you call someone a watchdog, what is the job of a watchdog? A watchdog. When you call, some of you have dogs in your home. So, gatekeeper, okay? Simple. Security. Security. When there is a pending threat, it makes an alarm, either by barking or by any signal you have trained it to do in times of danger. For not just you, but everyone that are around the compound. When a dog barks. It's not just the owner that hears the bark. The neighbors also hear the bark. That is the job of the journalist. We create awareness. When there is a sudden threat, we bark so that the society can prepare for it, resist it, or accept it. Because as a watchdog, if your watchdog barks and the person coming is a visitor that you are expecting, you walk up to him and you accept him inside, that's because it's someone you are familiar with. But if it's someone you aren't expecting, or for instance, an armed robber, because of the back, you can spy through the window, you see the person. Then you know what next to do. Either you run away or you bring out a weapon to try to face the threat. That is what we do as journalists, right? Now, this acknowledges the significant impact that journalists and the media can have on public policy and the functioning of democracy. What does this imply? As a watchdog of society, we look into every policy that has been made by the judiciary and the executive, and also the legislatives. We interpret these policies to the public so they can understand the jargons. Something is currently going on in Kenya. Who knows about it? There is a protest going on in Kenya. Who is aware of it? They are protesting against the tax bill. How did they know about the tax bill? The journalists informed them about the tax bill, that it has already been passed in the House and is awaiting ascension by the president. And do you know what happened next? The society in which the fourth estate of the realm is protecting took to the streets to reject that tax bill in protest. And after 3 days of protest, the president did what? Rescinded the bill and said he will not sign it to law. That is the work of a journalist. You shape the public opinion to the direction you want them to go. We hold the power accountable for their actions. We provide platform for marginalized, uncover truth and expose injustice. We foster transparency, accountability in governance. We facilitate informed decision making. We also shape public opinion, and we also empower citizens to engage in informed decision while serving as a watchdog over those in power, and also ensuring that their actions are in public interest because they are there to serve the public. By fulfilling these responsibilities, journalists demonstrate their leadership and commitment to serving the public's good. They are essential to a healthy democracy, and their work has a lasting impact on society. Do you know what it would have meant, for instance, we are talking about Kenya, if that bill was signed into law? The bill particularly increased the taxes for every taxable incomers and some other little commodities like biscuits, other food items, increased it by over 350%. Over 350%. Just because the government wants to pay IMF debt and the people will suffer. Now, is it not the living that will benefit from the development of democracy? By overtaxing, it means that many people will struggle. And that is why the media have to step in by informing the public what is about to be done and shaped in analysis. By analysis, we mean they further explained it and broke it down to the minute meaning in a way that the people will understand how it affects them. So it's so bogus to say the government is increasing taxes by 300%. No, people will just read it, all right? They won't understand how it means. But how do you stop the journalists? Then you now explain further to them. By 300%, we mean the spaghetti that you are buying for 1,000 naira will now be 3,000 naira. That is analysis. And that is your job as a journalist, to relate it to the reality of the people. And that is why they respect what they see in the media very well, because they see you as a journalist, as a leader as well. So far it was reported in the news, it is true. They won't have the opportunity to go and meet the president and say, oh, Mr. Tinubu, is it true you want to increase taxes? They may not have the opportunity. But because you are their voice and you are their leader, they obey and believe what you report. That is the power you are having. Now, As leaders, because you know you have that power, it behoves you that you have to be responsible. You must not join in spreading false information because you have power. Whether you are doing podcasts, you are doing traditional news, radio, whatever you are doing, if you report fake news, people will believe it. And it will cause catastrophe. So, firstly, you need to know how powerful you are. As a journalist, in embryo, or you end up practicing journalist, as I am today, it's very, very important to know that. By doing so, you have to now uphold the highest ethical standard by always seeking to report the truth and reporting it accurately and fairly. Fairly means that your truth must be balanced. You may be saying the truth, but you can report the truth without being balanced. That is what fairness means. As you are reporting to say, okay, they are increasing taxes on food commodities, you have to report what the government say was the reason why they are reporting, why they are increasing tax. So you have to put it there. You can't just say government is increasing taxes. Why is government increasing? You have to report it. Let the people now decide, is this reason cogent enough for us to accept it or not? But by just saying the government has decided to increase taxes on food commodities without stating the reason, that is you not being fair to the government. And that can even cause catastrophe to the state because half information is also very dangerous. Now, knowing this, you must now be willing to hold yourself and your peer group accountable. That is where self-regulation comes in. How many of you have heard about the social responsibility theory? Press theory. Who knows about press? Of course, you should know about press theory. There's one of those theories called social responsibility. That is where the journalist has to regulate itself. What should you report? How should you report it? Where should you report it? When should you report it? What platform? What prominence should you give to it in the pages of the paper? As a cover page story or as an inside page story? This is where your own social responsibility should come in. Because you hold you are like doctors. I always tell people when I talk, you are like, because your service is for the public. I never always forget to also mention that journalism is not to a man's wealth. I always say it. It's not to a man's wealth. It's a call to service. I know all the speakers have come to tell you how to make wealth, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you can make wealth, but that is not your primary responsibility as a journalist. Except you don't want to practice journalism. Of course, many of you have planned to go outside journalism after here anyway. But if you are coming to the field I am, and your primary goal is to come and make money, wrong profession. Because you will enter trouble. That's the truth. You will enter trouble. Not even now that there is now the social media bill, and then the cyber stalking and cyberbullying bill. If you want to do podcast, you think you are protected, it's a lie. Why is Bobrisky still in jail? Why is very that man just returning from the cell? And there are a handful of such people, especially one of them. I know you are familiar with the case of the person that spoke about e-money and gave false information that e-money killed Junior Pope. You heard about the information, right? He's still in prison just because you want traction. Oh, you are chasing money. You just come and say anything. Then you come out with called defamation of character, which would land you as high as 17 years in prison without option of bail. Because you have to prove. He who alleges must what? Must prove. If you don't prove and you allege, then you are guilty of defamation of character. That is why you have to self-regulate. Apply the social responsibility theory of the press. You are the first editor of your work. the first editor. Whatever idea you want to put out, it's left to you to first sit down, understand it, edit it, remove what should be removed, what you know will put you in trouble, don't put it. And ensure it conforms with what? The ethics of journalism. If you always go by the ethics of journalism, you won't run into trouble. That's it. I'll give you an example. Recently, or 3 days ago, something happened. I don't know if anybody heard about the death of the former founder or former co-founder of Konga. All right. It will interest you to know that I found the story first. I happened to peradventure have someone in that compound. And when that thing happened, the person told me, send me images, videos, everything. I could have just gone online and post everything. But do you know what I had to do? I had to wait till police and doctor confirmed it. Because why? You report that somebody had died. What if when he fell down from that upstairs, they were able to resuscitate him? 3 days after, he wakes up and said, I'm alive. What happens to your credibility? As a journalist, the moment you lose your credibility, it is finished for you. When they see you as, oh, this one is a liar now. That's how you always do. You just come out and open mouth. Wow. There are some people that will talk online. When you see that report, you don't like, this one is, because they have lost their credibility. So when that story came, I saw videos. Mind you, you are in the age of artificial intelligence, where videos can be manipulated. I saw videos, I saw pictures. So even if I had gone there myself and I confirmed and I saw it, there's a way I would have still reported it. That I would have to still wait for doctor report. You understand the point? Now, I now observe something. All the social media platform, only one carried the news. And that was the second day after the incident. The incident happened on a Tuesday. I got that information on a Tuesday. I held on to it as a developing story. On Wednesday, I started reaching out to the police public relation officer in Lagos State, who said he was yet to confirm the story. Because it takes process. The division where they reported the issue, before they will signal the headquarters, it will take some minutes and some time, probably. And I observed that by that Tuesday, nobody knew about it. But by Wednesday, then Ijoma Daisy was the first blogger to pick it. And then he quoted Tales, The Wheel. The Wheel used that story without confirmation. Now, the question now is, what if the otherwise was the case? Now, there are two things. I mentioned one of them before, which is if he woke up. The second one, what if he faked his death? He's a big man. Anything can happen. What if he faked his death and then wants media to just push it? Maybe because he wants to run away from his debtors. Then you now follow the bandwagon, lift the story, publish. Only to discover after a week that they saw him in Benin Republic chopping live. How will you feel? I'll come to your question, sorry. I just want to rush over my presentation. Anyway, but in leadership, purpose is what sets visionaries apart from mere managers. It's the difference between simply occupying the position and truly making a difference. And as journalism students, your purpose is not just to report news, but to tell the story that needs to be told. And in doing so, you must use that your platform to amplify marginalized voices, hold those in power accountable, and shed light on the issues that shape our world. But how do we discover our purpose in leadership? It begins with self-reflection. Self-reflection. You must ask yourself, first question, what drives you? Even as a journalist, what drives you? Not all journalists are crime and investigative reporter. Not all journalists. Some are entertainment, some are, legal, they do court reportings, some report society, different field because that is what interests. What drives you is what interests you, right? Then, what do you stand for as a person? What do you stand for? What are your principles? Then you now have to ask again, what do you hope to achieve, or what do you want to be known by? When they hear your name, what do you want public to believe? When they hear your name, oh, Mr. Jagede, that guy, now fake news pointer, this one, you know, or they will see your name, they'll be like, oh, they referred your name. And be like, oh, whatever he says, he don't just say it, you know. And then you must also be willing to listen, to learn, and to adapt. Because purpose is not a static entity. It evolves as you grow and as you learn. There are things I know now that I didn't know the first year of my career. There are some experiences I have now that I couldn't have even bought it from anywhere the first year of my career. Likewise, will there be things I will get to know in 5 years' time that I don't have any idea about it now? That is what purpose is. Purpose can change over time. It's possible. Incidents will happen, and then you start to have a better perspective or different perspective about some incidents. The first time I was to cover an incident arena, it was a building collapse. First time, that day, my purpose was redefined, not changed, redefined. When I saw lifeless children being brought out upon them, primary school children, because the building has a primary school on top of it, and it sunk into the ground. And the number of casualties, I can't even mention them. Some were even packed with cartons, you know. Then I was there. I was traumatized for more than a week, you know. These are experiences that shape you and can shape your purpose in life. As I move closer to my final point, you must recognize that leadership is not a solo act. It's about collaboration, it's about teamwork, and empowering others. Development. You have to keep retraining yourself. Beyond, there was a conversation about school and education just some moment ago. You have to keep learning and unlearning. Should I tell you one truth? The first journalistic story I wrote in my career as a journalist was over 9,000 words. Over 9,000 words. In today's client, do you know what that means for business? It means they will use 5 pages in the newspaper for it. Which media house will use it? That was how burning it was for me then. Now, I then had to learn and realize that a page will only take 1,200 words. So imagine cutting a 9,000 words down to 1,200. And it was say, go and cut it to 1,000. We always have as when you now get to the real life, you realize that it is not what they taught in classroom. There is a business angle to journalism. And for you as a reporter, you can't just jump and enter that business angle. That's the reality. Because you have to first have visibility. They have to know your name first. They have to know your name. They have to know your face. Those that are operating in the broadcast section. Because that is the weapon of trade that you have. Now I can count countless time when I enter an occasion, then I introduce myself, and they'll be like, those that are conversing with me, they'll be like, so you are the Sunday Igiato. And I'll be like, I'm scared, so I don't get kidnapped. You know, that's one of the risks in our job anyway. For those in print, your name precedes you. For those in broadcast, your face precedes you. But those two things, your name and your face, are your weapon, they are your most valuable tool or tool as you have it as a journalist. Your name and your face for those in broadcast. Because why? It is what they will attach to credibility or fake news. So when you report fake news and they realize that what you reported was fake, who is the reporter? Sunday Igiato. Whenever you report another one, there's another fake news. And it takes a lot of effort to be able to correct that impression. So you must have to be careful. In conclusion, discovering your purpose in leadership is a lifelong journey, as I've already stated. It requires self-reflection, courage, empathy, and a commitment to serving the greater good. The question now is, what is the greater good? What is the greater good of you? Can anyone answer that? All right. Yeah, that's your purpose. The greater good. All those things are towards one thing. That's what I'm asking here.
Nation building.
Nation building. Thank you. That's another way to put it.
I think one of it is changing narrative, taking pace of the
Okay. Anyway, because of our time, service. I already mentioned it before. Service to the people. You are informing, you are educating, you are entertaining to the people. That's the greater goal. Your goal, that's the greater goal. Your service is for the people. It's like democracy. By the people and for the people. Do you understand it? So, in everything you are doing, if you lose credibility among the people, you lose relevance. That is why there are some journalists that we used to know about before. You don't hear about them again because probably one, the society that we now have today has grown from society that used to know them, or because they lost their relevance in some ways. Are you getting it? Now, it tells you that you have a big responsibility on your shoulder as a journalist. You have to embrace your leadership position. You are a leader. You are not a politician. You are a leader on your own, in your own right. Politicians should be the one respecting you and looking for your favor, not you going to and running, chasing politicians up and down for peanuts. They should be the one chasing you up and down. I have spoken to a lot of celebrities. Whenever I'm interviewing celebrities, they're just normal people. I'm the one doing you a favor. You don't go celebrity and then, can I have a picture with you? You lose your self-worth and your self-respect, except you are not practicing journalism. If you are practicing journalism, know that when you start to chase celebrities and seeking for favors from them and politicians from them, you are losing your credibility, you are losing your respect, you are losing your value. They will see you as just one of those, their fans. Then you don't want to have that because you can lose your equipment of trade. And I will leave you with that. Don't lose your name and don't lose your face. I will take questions from. If you have questions, you can ask. Sorry, just a minute. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, there's something called national security. I heard about that word before. National security. You have a question too, right? Just give me a minute. Now, because without the society, there's no journalist. So you don't want the society that you are operating in to scatter. So you have to know when the information is about national security, you have to exercise a lot of restraint and patience. That is where you have to roll with the way politicians think. Because there's a way you report the story, you will cause problem. There will be protests everywhere. And the whole country will be on fire. You understand? So when news involves popular people, like as I told you, that CEO, a president, of course, many people knew that Yar'Adua died outside Nigeria now. Many people knew that Yar'Adua died, but they couldn't report it that he died outside Nigeria. They have to wait. That's also part of social responsibility. You understand my point? So patience in situations like that, you have to rely on press statement from an authority, like a governing body, like the SA to the president, or or the company itself, or the police, that are what we call it, legally recognized to comment on the issue and rely on their statements to build the story. Because if you go and do your own outside the work, what the framework they have, you will be committing what we call sedition. Have you heard that word before? Sedition is a crime against the state. There is no offense as greater as that against the state. When you commit sedition, it's life imprisonment or death. Sedition is part of, defamation is about people. When you publish an information that is not true against someone, and defamation will have two types of defamation. We have libel, who knows the second one? Libel and slander, right? Now, slander is spoken, libel is written. But when it's against the state, that is a state in Nigeria or Nigeria itself, it is sedition. All right? And sedition is not only you lying against the state, it's about releasing confidential information that is capable of causing chaos in the country or in the state. You understand my point? So even if it is true, the information is true, but it is not everything the public have to know. That is where responsibility comes in. There's some information that the public should not know about. That is where you have to know. You have to now choose between the public's right to know and the national security. All right. So you have to always be patient in those situations to save yourself from problem. All right. Let me take the last question.
Okay. Let me start from the beginning. Okay. Then I said the chairman of Jokoli City, Audu Makori, posted something on Twitter, which I reposted. You know, it didn't even last up to like 12 hours when he was arrested. I have to drop what I posted. And he was even saying the facts. So we as the journalists, not even having that freedom to write, we know a fact. We know the conclusion that this thing is the fact, and we have our source. For you now posting, and the government now looking, as in, okay, tell me right now, what do I tell? That is my question. What do I tell upcoming ones that, okay, this thing, if you observe this, you won't have problem. I don't have.
You're talking about freedom of information and freedom of the press.
I don't know how words to tell them.
Okay. First of all, let me tell you one truth. I hate to say this truth, but I will tell you the truth anyway. Nigeria media, like press in Nigeria, even though it's not enough, but we enjoy a lot of freedom. I'll tell you the fact. I have been to countries that don't have quarter of the kind of freedom that the press in Nigeria. I've been to Egypt, I've been to Morocco. Anything you post, first of all, you can't even access Facebook anyhow. You have to use a government licensed Wi-Fi to access social media. So you can't just buy a SIM card.
Sir, this last election, I know about journalists that was beaten black and white.
I'm there. I've been beaten before, so calm down. Calm down. I've been beaten by soldiers. So I know what you're saying. Calm down. See, I said one thing. I said, even though I hate to admit it, but I'll tell you the truth. We are still saying that the freedom is not enough anyway. But it's still better than what we see in some other countries. That's my point anyway. back to Nigeria. You see, it's still about my last point about crime against the state. Of course, being a watchdog, not everybody likes to be announced, especially when they're doing something bad. So this is one of what we call occupational hazard. All right? Every profession has its own occupational hazard. For we in the media, that is one of our occupational hazard. I have had situations where I have to leave Lagos State for about 3 years in the course of doing my job within the last 10 years. That I left Lagos State for, like, nobody knew where I was writing from, but I was not in Lagos State. Just because of a story. Which is true. You know. So it is part of occupational hazard that you cannot take away. Because person that is doing evil doesn't like to be announced. Evildoers don't like to be exposed. And when you are fighting them, they will fight back. You get my point? That is different from freedom of expression and freedom of information. Because they will tell you, okay, you are talking about freedom of information. What about freedom after information? All right? That is where you have to also be smart. You know, if you know you are on the truth side, look at now, one of the best investigative journalists we have in Nigeria now, David Ndeyi. Is he in Nigeria? He can't even come to Nigeria. Because the day he's going to step into Nigeria, they will pick him up. You know? But will you tell me what he reported are not true? He even give you evidences to back them up. You know? But even where he is hiding, they still went and tried to deport him back to Nigeria. That is occupational hazard. It's not a matter of freedom of, you have your freedom, it's with you. Oh yeah, express it. Every expression has a consequence, either good or bad. But as a smart journalist, you need to be smart in your ways. David Ndeyi could be doing what he's doing because he's not in Nigeria. He's not domiciled here. If he's domiciled here, he wouldn't dare. Because he knows what is going to happen. Because he's oppressed. The state is always oppressive. Even when they tell you we are operating democracy, it's a lie. The state is always oppressive. That is why we are the watchdog. Watchdog, you can like the dog and you may not like the dog. But the owner of the dog likes the dog. Right? But the person that is coming to steal from the owner of the dog, will he like the dog? If he's coming to steal and he knows that there is a dog there, his first target will be to kill the dog. Or distract the dog somewhere else while he operates. The same thing they do to you on social media. Give you a news, you focus on that news, they pass a bill, you don't know about the bill. Divide and rule. Thank you. Is there another question?
Can you do that better? Please put your hands together for Mr. Sunday Jato. I'm glad you enjoyed this session. Like I said, we always reserve the last for the best. It's my delight